There's a lot of things I have to get off my chest, and obviously we're going to talk about Jim Schwartz now. We talked about Doug earlier, but Jim is important here because you know what? I said to myself earlier, the season, I didn't care if Jim Schwartz got fired or not, but now at this point, he can go. He could really go because I've lost patience. You have a third-round pick on this team that, at the end of the day, look, at the end of the day, Howie Roseman is give Jim Schwartz a roster that he has to deal with, so I understand that. But at the end of the day, Jim Schwartz has done some puzzling things, which I really don't get. Why is it that you have a third-round pick in Davion Taylor? As, of course, you have no linebackers this year, and this is before we saw good things out of Alex Singleton and maybe some things out of T.J. Edwards. Okay, Sean Bradley from Temple, I was excited. Okay, I mean, even Davion Taylor, like you had him on special teams. It was already enough COVID messed up this offseason. No grass time whatsoever, no rookie minicamp, no whatever. And then all of a sudden, Jatavis Brown retires. You lose another linebacker, and you don't even put Davion Taylor onto the field. You don't put Davion Taylor onto the field until week 11 of the season. And he stunk. He was horrible. I can't blame him for being horrible. He played special teams. But this is what happens. You don't even try to. What, you're gonna go by scrimmages? I mean, the interceptions. Our corners don't get picks. Our corners never get picks. Okay, I thought one of the mistakes that we definitely made this offseason. I understand paying a safety at 32 years old, like a lot of money, wasn't a good thing. But I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of losing Malcolm Jenkins this year. We lost a lot of leadership this year. I wasn't a big fan of re-signing Jalen Mills this year. I wasn't a big fan of signing Rodney McLeod this year. Emotions. People that used to be here. No new blood. No new young players. It's always going back to what we normally do is the guys that used to play or have played here always get re-signed back. And I can't stand it anymore. Okay, this is why we're not drafting well, and when we don't draft well, this is only going to get worse. Okay, only going to get worse. Fletcher Cox disappeared earlier in the year this year. Where was he at? And then later on, he started to flourish and get better. But this is why we signed Javon Hargrave to a big contract. This was a 3-4 nose tackle from the Steelers that got pretty much the 6th highest paid defensive tackle money in the league, which I didn't see us signing a big free agent deal with a defensive tackle. Javon Hargrave had besides this not even this Cowboys game, 3 games before that, the past 3 games before that, he played really well. But this guy took this long to get into this system and actually do something on the field. I don't get it. Javon Hargrave is a wasted contract. Fletcher Cox, when Fletcher Cox gets hurt with a stinger injury, our whole defense just falls apart. You had Malik Jackson, didn't do nothing. Javon Hargrave didn't do nothing. Obviously, we didn't have Sweat. We didn't have Barnett, which was huge. Okay? Jannard Avery's a free agent after this year. Another guy we traded for 2 years ago and still hasn't worked out for us. Or last year, trade a 4th-round pick to the Browns by the trade deadline. What has he done? Absolutely nothing whatsoever. Okay? We have no depth in this defense. And this is all on Howie Roseman, but at the same time, you had Nathan Gary in at linebacker messing up games. Doug Peterson was pretty much our defensive coach as well because Jim Schwartz was defending Nathan Gary for I don't know how many weeks. How many weeks he was defending him of his poor play. Okay? I'm tired of doing a picket fence defense. I'm tired of when we can't play man or zone and Jim Schwartz is in panic mode in a game and he literally lines everyone off the line because and wants to keep everything inside because he doesn't want to give up the big play. This is why we should be drafting a corner every year. This is why we should be drafting a linebacker every year. And it's a mess. It's a total mess. Okay? Michael Jacquet probably played worse out of a lot of people. Okay? Michael Jacquet had a really bad game. Okay? He had a really bad game. And I know, you know what? I understand the position that he was in, but and people are saying, oh, he played good against Arizona. He didn't play good against Arizona. He played okay, but he didn't play as bad as he did, okay? Obviously, the Cowboys took advantage of the matchup with Michael Gallup on Michael Jaquette, okay? He gave up 182 yards on 7 passes. It took the Eagles 3 possessions. It took Jim Schwartz 3 scores to make changes. Jaquette was literally mentally done. His soul was ripped out. Okay? His soul was totally ripped out. His body language was horrible. I could tell he was just, you got to have a short-term memory as a cornerback. You have a short-term memory, you're good. This is how you become successful as a cornerback. You start getting down on yourself during a game at that moment, you're done. Confidence is down. He got benched after the Cowboys scored 3 times. After there was 3 scores, at least from the Cowboys, they say, oh, hey, Jalen Mills, you play corner now. They actually had Rudy Ford as a corner, and he's a safety. Rudy Ford is horrible. Marcus Epps' safety is horrible. Ronnie McLeod, you know what? He got hurt this year. He actually played pretty good this year, but he played on a bad team this year, unfortunately. So I just don't. I want some new blood in here. I see all these guys, we passed on defense. We talk about the receivers we passed on. Look at the guys that we passed on defense. I'm looking at linebackers like Patrick Queen from Baltimore, and I'm like, this guy's a monster all over the field. We could have took him. I mean, I'm looking at guys that we could have had. And the thing is, we can't keep putting all this money into this defensive line. We can't do it anymore. It's all you're doing is putting all that money into that position, and then you're pretty much ignoring. I mean, they didn't necessarily ignore corner. They signed one corner to big money, but I mean, at this point, Avonte Maddox gets beat all the time. Howie Roseman likes to sign these marquee names that used to be good, but are not good anymore, or he gets these guys too late in their careers. Nickel Roby-Coleman is one of those guys. Nickel Roby-Coleman cannot play. Mr. Slot God, Mr. top 5 slot corner in the league. I mean, just embarrassing. I mean, just literally embarrassing what Nickel Roby-Coleman has done this year. I mean, I was really excited for him. I really was. And I noticed because Howie Roseman said after he signed him, he said, oh, well, Nickel Roby-Coleman, I was really excited to sign him. We tried getting him in 2017 because you got him you couldn't get him in 2017. So you decided to get him 4 years later, okay? 4 years too late. Deshaun Jackson, 5 years too late. It's a joke. It's a total joke. I don't even know what to say about it anymore. I really don't. I didn't like the way Jim handled this defense, but at the same time, this is why Howie Roseman has to go too, because he didn't set Jim up for success. Period. This is why I put blame on Jim still for a lot of things. Let the guys play. Why does Rasul Douglas and Sidney Jones go to other teams and they're playing literally face up, man to man on guys, and we got to be so cautious with them when they're here? I mean, I just don't get that at all. I really don't get that. I don't. Michael Jaquette gave up a lot of yards. You know what? And the thing is, he didn't make any changes. I understand, like, we're running out of cornerbacks, but you waited 3 scores to change your position on this team. It's ridiculous. So there's a lot of guys that are old on this, especially defensive line. Like, Malik Jackson's got to go. I wouldn't mind trading Hargrave at all because he's just. I don't even think it's even worth having him here. It's not. The promise that he's going to play better next year. I mean, I understand a 3-4 and a 4-3 are two different. I mean, but still, like, your pass rushing ability is your best ability, and you can't even use that, and you couldn't even do that. And then as soon as, when Fletcher Cox gets hurt, you rely on a guy like Javon Hargrave to kind of replicate that. When Fletcher Cox retires or something like that, when he's not here anymore, Javon Hargrave will be here, and kind of replicate what Fletcher Cox would do in a game. But that's not the case. It's not the case whatsoever. So, Other than that, guys, that's really all I gotta say. I'm done. I'm done with. I want to go back to playing Smash Mouth defense. Okay. I want to go back to playing Smash Mouth defense. I want a hybrid linebacker. I want to draft young, defensive linemen that are good. I would like to draft young corners that can actually cover, not guys that work in a system, guys that will help as soon as they come in. I mean, this is what I want. It's really aggravating to see this roster the way it is on defense. I can't stand it. I feel bad for Darius Slay. I really do. We get no turnovers, no picks from these corners. These corners can't get a pick for their life. And this is coaching. You got these corners lined up. I mean, I could say it over and over again. Like, I can't stand the picket fence defense. I can't stand it when they're playing cautious all game. I can't stand it. I really can't. So, the tackling has been horrible. These remnants of, the remnants of 2017 need to go. Everyone needs to get out of here and cut them immediately. And Jim Schwartz can go with them. Period. Other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about Jim Schwartz staying, leaving, whatever you guys want to say. I'll see you guys later. Chicks go up. Files fly. Peace out, guys. Peace.